Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. It's time for the Jesse T Show, and we are live, happening here in the beautiful place we call Los Angeles, somewhere here in L.A. County. I've got the All-American hat on today. Hey, we're postponing today's The Real Story. I got a couple of cats who are going to have to go to work today. Yes, everybody does have more than one job these days, to make ends meet. We're going to talk a little bit about that later on this hour, but we are reaching out to Kevin Sorbo right now, as we're going to be bringing him on to talk a little bit about his great career, as Hercules, as well as so much and so many other terrific new things that he has been doing. It's really been a great journey for him, and we're going to be having him on here as Lee Baby Michaels reaches out to him and connects him up with us. Lee, let me know either verbally or text or whatever. Just let me know you got him on or not. Nevertheless, it's good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty, on the air and everywhere. And we are traveling all around L.A. County today. Boy, I was everywhere today. I must have did 350 or 400 miles today. And that's kind of easy to do, really, when you think about it, because in L.A. County, it is so spread out and so far. It's amazing how much you pack the miles on your automobile. As I plug this other phone in and this other line in, so getting me nice and clear.
Yeah, we got you, and Kevin is ready.
Okay, that's great. We'll go to him in just a second. But as we traveled around Los Angeles today, it's so easy to pack on the miles. Any other city other than New York, they talk about traveling time. But here in Los Angeles, they talk about traveling miles. And it's miles and miles of endless traffic. Living in paradise, but I always say there's just too many people. www.thepowerofvoices.com, our foundation, online, on radio, broadcasting out to the millions and millions of listeners and viewers on 25 of your top social network media sites, as well as many others. Good to have you along on Instagram Live, on Periscope Livestream, YouTube, also on half a dozen Facebook sites. Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero is one of them. And they're starting to chime in already, folks like Patty Lopez and Gary Winkler. And we appreciate you guys checking in over here. Callie Zedig out there, and Anthony Bratz. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? He's a great actor. Talk about a great actor. Boy, this guy has been around, and we remember him so lovingly as the great Hercules on a long-running TV show, Kevin Sorbo! Yeah!
Where's my theme music? Come on, man. Cue that up.
Yeah, you need to cue that up, man. Come on, Lee. Cue that theme music up, baby. Hey,
you gotta remember, I did 5 years on Andromeda
talking about. What is the name of that trailer? And I'll get Lee to cue it up for us.
The trailer for what?
A new project that you're doing, or do you have a special trailer?
It opens September 7th. We only have it's a limited release. We hope to grow and grow and grow. It's called Bleeding Blue. They can go to bleedingbluemovie.com and get information on sponsorship to bring it to your town. It's a pro-police. It's the real documentary dealing with how the media is obviously fake news is everywhere, right? And they make it look like the cops are killing people left and right. For instance, you can look at Chicago alone in the year 2016. There were well over 4,000 shootings in that city, and the police were involved in 0.5% of them. So where was the other 99.5%? Oh, it was citizens killing citizens, mostly African Americans killing African Americans. But the police and Black Lives Matter don't pay attention to that now, do they?
No, neither does Antifa or anything on the fake news media,
No.
as well as other newspapers and magazines and so much stuff that's on the internet, just putting down what seems to be logic and common sense to me. Right
Sure.
is right and wrong is wrong. But boy, I'll tell you, they certainly have a direction they want to take this country. And thank God for President Trump being elected by the American public, as he himself has kind of led the juggernaut, and they're doing everything they can to take that man down. Everything under the sun, including breaking the law.
Yeah, well, even the Republicans are. There's a lot of rhinos out there as well, you know. Speaking of Antifa, I'd like to take a poll. How many of those guys do you think actually have a job? How many of them are living off welfare? I bet you the majority of them are, and they're probably being paid to do what they're doing as well.
Yeah, George Soros, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Others won't say it. Ha ha.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
Well,
George
George's another billionaire. He can afford to be a socialist, but he doesn't live like one, does he?
No, he's worth $50 billion,
Yeah.
and he was a Nazi collaborator by his own admission when he was
sure.
14, 15 years old in Nazi Germany, turning in his own faithful people, the Jews,
Yep.
in his homeland.
What
So,
a wonderful man.
he's been funding a lot of this, and I will add a little note to that. It's when they disrobe the Antifa members, they take those black masks off. My goodness, you think you're in walking zombie land. Most of these people look like zombies. It blows my mind.
Oh, yeah. They don't have the balls.
I'm a third generation Hollywood brat. My father did 37 years at the 20th Century. My grandpa did 51 years, hired by Jack Warner at Warner Brothers, and I've been in the business over 45 years myself on the TV and radio side. And one of the things that I really love what you're doing as an independent producer is the fact that you're bringing faith-based movies, but that are real. That
It's in the theaters. Please go out and get it. It's a wonderful family movie. You can get it streaming on Amazon. You can pick it up at Walmart, and it did fantastic. Sean called me up out of the blue and said, "Hey, I loved your movies. God's Not Dead. What If? Abel's Field. Do you have something like that?" We flew to New York. We pitched him. He wrote a check 30 minutes later. You know, it's a huge section of the population out there, at least 80 million people, that want to watch movies that have a good message. And it doesn't necessarily have to be faith-based. I think all movies are faith-based. I mean, I think if you're an atheist, you have a stronger faith than Christians do. I mean, you believe in absolutely nothing, so everything's kind of is faith-based in a way.
I run into a lot of those, my friend.
Oh, yeah, and I got plenty of them, too, but I'm still friends with them. I mean, I don't get all this anger, If you don't want to have a belief, then fine, don't have a belief. Why you have to attack somebody else? They scream for tolerance and freedom of speech, but it's become a one-way street. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, this the attack on the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and the Second Amendment is pretty outrageous in my lifetime, especially the last 10 years or so. It's just unbelievable what has happened to our press and what people are thinking about, and it's frightening because the next generation, those that are younger than you and me,
I worry for my kids, man. I got to tell you.
Yeah, man. I mine are 28 and 23, so I'm past that really impressionable age of the teens and the early teens. But it's a fearful thing, especially with who's and how they're thinking today. And that is, like you said, nothing. There seems to be no direction. And so movies like what you're doing now, and I just love all your independent productions, is that you're bringing some meaning, some direction, saying to people that look at, it's okay to have an answer and a solution and to work hard for that. I love what the storylines of your projects. Has that always been something in your life?
Well, sure. You even look at 7 Years on Hercules. It always had a good message. That was a Universal Studios show, and the writers always put in good messages in there, and we were in 176 countries. We passed Baywatch as the most-watched TV show in the world. It was an honor to be part of that show. There's great humor, beautiful women. There was great, funny fight scenes. You weren't slashing up and killing people left and right. And there were dramatic moments in it, but for the most part, it always had really good moral messages in there. And I think that really hit a kindred spirit with people. They really liked it. And I just like being involved in that. Want to do more and more of that. So it's something I'm going to continue to do. To me, I get stopped all the time through airports and through at malls, at restaurants, where people say, "Please keep making more movies that I can take my family to." I mean, you talk about your grandfather in the business back in the Jack Warner days. Hollywood was a pretty conservative place up until the '60s. The '60s changed everything with the hippie movement, the free love, and they took the Bibles out of school. I mean, our country was founded on Judeo-Christian values, for crying out loud. You don't have to be a Christian to say, killing's not a good thing. Coveting's not a good thing. All this ego and jealousies, and that's where a lot of socialism and communism pops up, is because people are jealous and envious of people that have worked hard in their lives to get things in their lives. I didn't come up with nothing. My dad was a school teacher. I'm the fourth of 5 kids. My clothes are hand-me-downs from my older brothers, but my dad taught us
hand-me-downs.
Yeah, my dad taught me that working hard and not expecting payouts is a good way to live. Work hard. You're going to fail in your life over and over again, but use failure as a positive instead of a negative. So many people are lazy out there right now. They just want the government to take care of them.
Yeah, and that's an interesting statement, because it's so true, especially since I would say about the last 35 years, we've seen that slow erosion where people want something for nothing. And I own a lot of real estate and a lot of apartment businesses. I've been in that business for about 40 years. And some of the people that I rent to, they're constantly working the system over and over and over. They start in with me that they have a job and all the verifications, but they end up working the system. And some people know how to work this system, and it's almost a feeling like, well, I'm expected to get this. This is what I'm expected to have. No, you're not. You need to go out and earn your way. And we've come into this philosophy in this country, and I just hope that our president can get through this stuff that happened on Tuesday. I hope he can get through that. Well, and keep the message going and the fight going.
Yeah, but you just said it, they expect it. I mean, once you start giving people free stuff, they get used to it, and it's harder and harder to take it away from them without getting angry and upset, and then they start rioting and everything like that. So I'm sitting there going, we need to get back to what this country was founded on. We need to get back to they want to erase history now. Every country has bad history. All these tearing down of statues and stuff. Look, I get it. I totally get that people, the slavery and all that stuff, that was evil, it was horrible. But we're not the only country that's had slavery, and there's still slavery out there. And, I'm not saying it's right. We got to get rid of it. But to sit there and erase your history, that's what you learn. That's why history repeats itself, because people are not learning history. Look at our education system. They're not including
What
so
education system?
Yeah,
they don't read books anymore.
We rank 27th in the world right now. 27th, and we're America, for crying out loud. But the government does it on purpose. The government, Lenin said it back during the Bolshevik Revolution. He said the best way to control people is through education. And I heard some statement that Al Gore, I agree with that, and that's what the government's trying to do. It's absolutely horrible what we're doing to our kids in education. We're brainwashing them.
Goebbels said, give me the children and I'll give you 1,000 years. And he was absolutely right. That's where you start, with the babies. And that's what has happened in the last 2 generations. I am one that's an independent, conservative, free thinker, and I tend to move a little bit right on a lot of issues. But I try to look at everything with a basic neutrality, but I tend to think a little more conservative and independent. And I believe, in the government corruption is there, and in insurance and banking and the corporations is all about the mighty dollar. And this is the greatest perversity of the world that creates deviant behavior. And it's unfortunate. And I hope that we can right this wrong. And your movies, the movies like this, and other independent producers that are making these movies, that it gives a chance, I think, for people to have come up to you and said, I keep making those family movies. Because, in reality, we are a visual communicating species now. We don't read, we don't listen to radio like we used to. We visually accept things and copy things. And so if you can visually provide good films like this, like the one that you've got coming up about the police, and tell the truth, this is important, because Hollywood leads the way on opinion.
Yeah, there's no question. All you got to do is when you go to the airports and you're waiting for your plane, look around. Look in restaurants. Nobody's talking to each other anymore. You get 4 teenagers at a table, and they're all texting each other from across the table. What are you going to order? You know, there's no conversations going on anymore. We're losing that skill completely. And for me, the movies that I love to do are called actors movies. The reason I wanted to get into acting to begin with was to do real movies about real people that people can identify with, that make you laugh, make you cry, make you think. And that's the kind of movies I do. And look, I love the Avengers too. I love going to see a rock and roll CGI effect, but you walk out not really thinking about what happened. They just took down a whole city. About 20 million people died in New York City in that movie, but nobody talks about that, do they?
Yeah, and they keep taking down the same cities.
Yeah, I know.
Like those contractors working on my house.
I like the roller coaster ride too, like I said. But I also like movies that have characters in it that you can relate to and identify with. And I'm going to keep making these. I mean, I hope people go out and get my movie What If, get Abel's Field, get God's Not Dead, get my latest one Let There Be Light. I just finished another one called Miracle in East Texas, which is going to be out next spring. And I've got 2 others coming out that are done. They'll be in theaters soon. One's called One Nation Under God, and the other one is called The Reliant. It's an action movie, and people will love it. It's a really good movie.
And I do want to say we have Kevin Sorbo on here, and Hercules also, and you didn't say this, but I'm going to. You're such a handsome devil, You're such a handsome man that you had something to do with that movie, my friend, so don't you deny that.
Well, I got to give a plug for Andromeda, too, for all you Star Trek fans. I did that for series for 5 years. So I played the first captain, Captain Dylan Hunt, after Captain Kirk. So it was the first show Gene Roddenberry created, So that's out on DVD now as well. But I hope people support. Then go to kevinsorbo.net. All kinds of information on there. If you want to follow me on Facebook, I post a lot of stuff. But, you said you're independent. I'm independent. I vote independent. I voted Democrat and Republican. Right now I'm not really happy with a lot going on the Republican side either. But certainly the Democrats keep moving further and further left. All they got to do is listen to John F. Kennedy's inauguration speech in 1960. And let me tell you, that's not a Democrat talking today. That's a Republican, the way he gave his speech.
Yeah, he was way ahead of the game. So was Eisenhower before him about the industrial complex, the military-industrial complex. He gave us a warning that has absolutely come true. So was Patton, and so was MacArthur. They were way ahead of their times and giving us warnings for the future.
Reagan said we're one generation away from losing our freedoms, and here we are.
Yep, absolutely right. And, after 133 credits, you've had a great career, my friend. I mean, what has been some of the favorite things? Give me 1 or 2 favorite things that you've really loved about your career.
I met my wife through it. I got 3 wonderful kids. And obviously, without the success of Hercules, 7 years in New Zealand, it was fantastic. I worked with amazing people. Most of my crew went on to win all these Academy Awards when they worked on Lord of the Rings. And without that show, I wouldn't have everything else happening right now. But I'm very honored and blessed to be able to do these movies I'm doing now because they're a lot of fun. But, the hardest thing to do is raising money. I mean, it's hard to raise funds for independent movies because Hollywood controls really all the money, and they just want to keep doing Pirates of the Caribbean 14 and another Avengers movie. And I get it. They keep making money. It's called show business, right? But still, there's 80 million people out there that they don't pay attention to that want family movies. So I don't know what Hollywood's problem is with doing movies that have a good message in it.
Yeah, it's always hard to raise money, but with the successes you have, it hopefully will get easier and easier, and you can continue on with these great films that you're producing. And give a plug again for your newest release and a limited release. I think the folks really need to go see that one because that kind of lays it out.
They go to bleedingbluemovie.com. bleedingbluemovie.com and get the true facts, the reality of police shootings happening in America compared to citizens killing each other in America. Okay, there's a big difference, guys. So go to bleedingbluemovie.com.
What do you mean? Guns don't kill anybody? People actually have to pull a trigger? What?
Yeah, somebody has to be there. Hey, look, the mayor in London, who happens to be Muslim, he wants to get rid of cars now because I guess there was another car attack. So he wants to ban cars in the city of London. So we're gonna be banning hands pretty soon because hands kill people too.
Yeah, and we're back to paper straws of 1952 again. So why not? I mean, yeah. Kevin Sorbo, everybody. Thanks, man, for hanging out. When you're in town, when you're in town and you're down near Sony Studios, you got to come visit us at the station here, and maybe we can do something live. I know a lot of the folks would love to interact with you and maybe talk some of these issues we were talking about.
I'll do my best, but like you just mentioned earlier, I do live in LA, and where you are 40 miles away, that takes about a day and a half to travel in LA traffic to get there.
I know. Hey, don't worry. My Uber god, my buddy Lee Baby Michael says by next year we're going to see Uber cars flying through the air. They've already been licensed by the FAA. Oh Lord, help us, please.
Oh my gosh! All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Kevin Sorbo, everybody, a great actor. Go see his new movies. Check him out online, and also go to his IMDb site. Just see all the great stuff that he's done. Oh, so many credits and so many just terrific productions. He is a busy man, and we appreciate him coming in here and talking a little bit of politics, but talking about our country and his feelings about his new film and all the good stuff about Hollywood and what he's doing to make it a little bit of a better place. Kevin Sorbo, everybody. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Have a great one. Hey, it's the Jesse T Show. Good to have you here back with me. Now, the boys, the Double Ds, are usually on The Real Story today, but what's taking place is D. Craig got called in for a daytime shift he had to cover for somebody, and Dell is out there taking care of some tax stuff. As you know, Dell is a tax man, and I've got two kitty cats in my studio back here driving me crazy. Get out of here, guys! Get out of here! You know what they're doing? They're chasing fly. They're chasing a fly. I've been fighting this fly all day long, and it happened to come in here with me, and we got two house cats, and they're driving me insane. What they do is they come in here and they chase flies. They don't care whether I'm on the air. No. They're the superstars. No, I'm not going to show you my two kitty cats, the house cats here. No, the studio cats. No. I might show you some stray cats if they don't start acting right. That's for sure. All right, so normally we're talking the issues of the day with the fellas, but they got called out on more important business like making that money. Got to bring home the bacon. You know where bring home the bacon, the cliche came from, actually? It's interesting. A lot of these cliches that we say, they actually came from a point of truth at some point. All cliches come from truth. Back in the medieval times of England, it was a sign of wealth, a sign that you made it when you brought home the bacon. Now, they didn't have a lot of food to eat. The peasants, the king always ate well because he was the landlord and he owned the land. And the people that lived on the land, he owned them too. He owned everything on the land. And so he was a lord. He was called a landlord. So he ate the bacon. He got the fresh goat milk. He got the fresh fruits and vegetables. He got the best of the best horses to ride. He got the best of the best, but everybody else was sort of left to fend for themselves and to get some crumbs. So if you were able to get some meat of some sort other than a natural meat like deer or pheasant or fox or squirrels or whatever like that, if you were able to get yourself on a steer for some steer meat or a cow for some fresh milk or a pig and had some ham and piglets and had some of that for ham, what you would do is you would take the pig and, butcher it and then shave off pieces of meat and hang that on a rope across the front of your front door. And everybody in your village and everybody that saw your door with the meat or the bacon hanging on the front of the rope, drying out, being salted, of course, so that it would be preserved. That they said, well, look at Wallace. He's brought home the bacon. So that became a point of success, that you've risen somehow to the next level to have actual fresh meat. So that's how we come to the idea of, hey, that guy's bringing home the bacon. Something new there. Cliches always tend to come from real life experiences over 500, 1,000 years. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what's going on today. We are going to talk a little bit of politics and my feelings about some things that are happening here to our great president, President Trump. And we're also going to talk about some things just general in what's happening in our society today. It's pretty amazing to me, just across the world. Kevin, we talked about that, the police shootings in Chicago and the death and destruction and the murder and the violence that's been happening here around the planet. I mean, even the destruction and the killing of animals in Africa. The big hunting trips now are killing giraffes. And why? Giraffes eat flowers at the top of the trees. They're herbivores. Why do you kill them? To cut their necks off and hang their heads in your library, to skin them and have a giraffe jacket. See, this is the big thing now in Africa, is there's a big slaughtering going on of giraffes, illegal as heck, but it's happening. So we're seeing violence all around the world. There's fighting going on, there's destruction, there's murdering, there's all kinds of bad things that are happening. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well here. Because to me, the world seems to have it has gotten more violent. And maybe it's just that I'm paying more attention to it over the last 6 or 8 or 10 years. But I just think the progression of violence has gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's not any one person that creates that problem. It's our humanity, our population, as it has been growing and growing and growing over the decades and decades of time to a population of 7.5 billion people on the planet Earth now. People just seem to have gotten more angry for some reason. More people in the world have things. More people eat than ever before. More people have fresh water than ever before. More people have a decent place to live than ever before. More people have access to medicine and shelter and clothing and some sort of income than ever before in the history of the planet Earth. But yet we still seem to be getting violence. And I'm contemplating, why is this taking place in just about every country of the earth? I mean, you look at England, France, and Germany. You look at Norway. You look at Finland. You look at what's happening in Spain now with the North Africans attacking the Spanish police by throwing acid at them, trying to burn and push their way through Spanish barricades to keep them out of their country. You're looking at the Middle East, of course, Palestine, Israel, Iraq. It's amazing. You're looking at areas in some parts of India where Pakistan and India come together. They've been fighting for a millennial there. We just don't see the news. BBC idea of what's happening around the planet Earth that's not slanted towards Americans. But it seems to me that violence is happening more and more everywhere, especially in America. Now, why is that? Well, I think there's several reasons for it. And one of the reasons is it's the almighty dollar. The old cliche was the best headline to put in your newspaper is a headline that sells the newspaper. So the old newspapers used to have these raging headlines, and they were always about death, destruction, evil. All these headlines was to capture your eyes so you would stop and buy that nickel paper or that dime paper way back in the old days, right? Like when Los Angeles had 4 different daily newspapers. New York had 6. Chicago had 6. San Francisco had 3 daily newspapers. So they had to capture the headlines so that people would buy their paper and see their advertisements. That's how they made their money.
Okay. Yeah, not much by the nickel or the dime or the subscriptions. They actually made their money by the advertisers paying money to put an ad in their newspaper because they had a bigger subscribership or a bigger draw on their paper every day than the other competing newspapers. So the headlines got more outrageous and more outrageous and more outrageous. And when TV came along, news was separate from the TV shows. News was looked at in more of a neutrality. They would give both sides of the story because the FCC had certain rules and regulations that forced the news channels 2, 4, and 7. That's all we had, NBC, CBS, and ABC, really, at that time, to force them to give both sides of the story. So they were much more neutral in their representation and presentation of the news. Then something happened along the way where the FCC got really weak, and the news stories and the news distributors on TV became more of an entertainment sort of fabrication. And you can only entertain so much. And with still the idea of the biggest headline sells, they all started trying to out-entertain each other or out-headline each other so that you would watch them, so that they could sell their advertisement to their watchers and viewers on TV. So we've had this reduction of the FCC's control, corruption, I would say, but that's another story. We can get into that on another day. But nevertheless, so news became more and more entertaining. And now what it has become is all commentary. It's all commentary. It's not even editorial. There's a difference. It's commentary. It's entertaining. It's an opinion slanted for the viewers that are watching with the advertisers that will advertise on those channels. Okay? The larger the viewership, the more money they can charge. And so they all have their slant. It's not neutral reporting anymore. So if you are one that likes MSNBC, you're getting MSNBC's slant. If you like CNN, you're getting CNN's slant. If you like Fox, you're getting Fox's slant. If you like Alex Jones, you're getting Alex Jones's slant. If you like John B. Mitchell, another nighttime talk show host, you're getting his slant. If you like Jesse T, you're getting his slant. Okay? It's become much more of that kind of commentary. Though I try to be neutral, and I think I'm going to surprise you today on some things I'm going to say about Donald Trump. Though I am a Trumpster, I think I'm going to surprise those that are viewers and watchers and listeners of the Jesse T Show every day. Nevertheless, the point I'm trying to make is it's entertainment. They're entertaining you. They're appealing to what you already accept. They're appealing to your emotion. That's what they're doing. And news has become more and more violent between each other in the rhetoric. CNN will say one thing, Fox will say another thing. It's becoming more coarse, more curse, more of an attacking feeling. And we as the public see this. Now, if you're 75 years old, you can recognize the difference because you remember a different time. But if you're 15, you can't because 10 years ago you were 5. You have no experience at all with anything. So everything to you is new from that point on. If you're 25, everything to you is happening for the first time, and it's happening then for the first time ever in the history of the planet Earth, as far as you're concerned. But really, it hasn't. In the population that has grown to 7.5 billion over a long period of time, anything and everything that you as a person under 30 years old are doing or going through has already happened countless number of times before by every generation and every person on God's blue-green earth. So nothing is new. It's just new to you. Well, they know this. So they know that they can capture a population, like Kevin Sorbo said, the people that believed in Leninists, and I followed up with Goebbels from Nazism, that if you give us the children and we can teach the children, we can have an empire or control forever of them and of the country and maybe the world. And so that's what they've done since the end of my generation. Certainly, perhaps since the beginning of the baby boom generation, which started 1946, late 1945. I was born in 1960. So I'm at the end of it. Others that are 71, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like President Trump, who's 72, they were born in the 40s. So they got more of that old generation than I got. But the experiment was with the baby boomers. Like Kevin Sorbo said, in the 60s, the world broke wide open after the murdering of JFK. After they assassinated him, the corrupt government, which I think LBJ, I think the Bushes, I think the mafia, I think the corporations, all had something to do with it at some point because they all hated JFK. They hated the Kennedy clan because JFK's father was a bootlegger. He was a bootlegger during Prohibition, and he was a tough guy. He was a gangster. He was an Irish gangster out of Boston. And he sold all the liquor to Capone and to the New York boys and the Philly boys and all around the country. It was Kennedy who created this, old man Kennedy, okay? So he made a lot of enemies on his journey, folks. Lots and lots of enemies. And after he was gone, they started whacking his kids. But here's the point. The world changed after 1963 dramatically, okay? And so that's my generation. The baby boom generation was the great experiment. And frankly, I think 500 years from now, they're going to look back at the baby boom generation and they're going to say that we destroyed America. Because we have. We are the generation that's going to go down in history, has been the great destructors of the greatest country mankind has ever created. This country and the shift it is taking right now that Donald Trump is trying to stop, the shift that it is taking right now and that has been taking since the Civil War is a shift that right now tyranny surpasses liberty. You just don't realize it. And as AI, robotic automation, transfusional humanoids enter our population, watch what happens. RFID chips in the back of your neck, the 666 concept, watch what happens. Some say that Prince Charles is the Antichrist. Yeah, some are saying that right now. But nevertheless, the point I'm trying to make is the baby boom generation was a great experiment and it worked. See, that's the thing. It worked. It destroyed America's ideology because we became such a, the word I want to use is, we became such a population that became so perverted and deviant with the glorification of the things that we had. The fast life. We became very promiscuous. That's the word I want. During that generation. The birth control pill, free love, free sex, flower childs, all that stuff infiltrated America, thus infiltrated the world. So goes America, so goes the world. It worked. The great experiment worked. The breakup of the American family, divorce rates really climbing through that time of our country, up to 40, 50%. Now the divorce rates are 60%. We have more single-family parents, men and women, than ever before. In fact, the average marriage only lasts, 2 to 4 years without children, and with children, 3 to 5, 6 years? And then what? A divorce. How many people that you know today have been divorced not once, but twice, and maybe 3 times? So many, especially here in Southern California, everybody has been divorced at least once, except me, Jesse T, baby. Yeah, right on. 29 years with Mama T. 43 years since I met her at 15. See, the concept of that is so archaic. When I say that to people, they darn near fall off their chair. It's unbelievable. Okay? So, it worked. And what it worked, it broke up the control of the family within the family unit. And so what we saw the first burning of the flags. We saw the first peeing on cemeteries and graves, spitting at our soldiers. We saw the first disrespect given. Heck, they murdered and assassinated a president. Okay? And then Martin Luther King Jr. And then Malcolm X before that. They took them all out. And then Robert Kennedy 5 years after that. And then John in the 90s. Yeah. If I was a candidate, I would never run for political office. So, it worked. And what did it work? What did it create? It created the next generation, the Generation X. And then it created the next generation, the millennials. So what we have here is we have a promiscuity that happened. That's problem number one, the destruction of American concepts and ideology. Kevin Sorbo talked about that, and that we are a Judeo-Christian nation. Absolutely. Absolutely. First and foremost. You don't like it? Too bad. That's what I say. Now, the second thing is technology. Technology has destroyed us even faster because people don't read. They don't actually take a book and read. They don't take this archaic thing here. It's called a newspaper and read. Have you ever had somebody read you a newspaper? I do this experiment all the time. I'll take a book and I'm sitting reading and I'll say, hey, buddy, can you read this to me? My glasses, I can't make that out. And I open up and I have them read. And this is how they read. Because of an inept defense of Harper's Ferry by its Union Commander Dixon Miles, and because of McClellan's failure to advance rapidly. That's how they read. More people read like that than read properly. It's crazy, isn't it? Technology has done that because it's push and watch. We talked about that earlier with Kevin. It's a visual society now. Technology has changed to a visual society, our kinetic senses. It's visual. Okay? This is why those big explosion movies are so popular, because they're easy to absorb. We don't got to think. All right? When you see a movie that was made in 1930 or 1945 or 1953, and you got to think about it, that was written terrifically by some of the greatest writers on the planet Earth that wrote books and novels, you got to think about these movies. And people don't want to do that. That's why the long shot on the scenes, the fast cutting today replaced the long shot because people don't have the attention span. Technology has destroyed the attention span and the communication between family structures. And who are the fathers and mothers of the millennials, the Generation X? If you had children later, like I did, then you're still the father of a millennial. But you're my age, 58, 57, 56. You're still the father, you're a mother of a millennial. You could be. But Generation X, 50 down to 30, is generally the father of these millennials and the mother of these millennials. They don't read. And so the millennials in kindergarten, they get a computer. Heck, in fact, they're taking the children and filling their heads with perverse ideas of transgenderism, of allowing cross-dressers to teach their children how to read in libraries. I mean, what kind of messages are they sending? And if you are one of those people, more power to you. I don't care, but there's a place. And teaching the children is not. Lest you forget, ladies and gentlemen, how did we get 7.5 billion people on the planet Earth? We had sex. We procreated. It's called man and woman making babies. Well, if we have a bunch of gay, homosexual, lesbian, bisexual, queers, transgenders, that's LBGQT, right? Running around, how are we ever going to have any kids in 500 years? That might be what the depopulation extremists want. You ever heard about the Georgia Stones? You ought to go check it out. Anyway, technology has allowed another message to come true and teach your children. That's number 2. Number 3, we've allowed our society to get unhealthy, out of shape. It blows my mind when I see young children who are overweight. It's because everything in the store has sugar in it. Everything, and salt. You see, I remember my grandmother cooking from her garden in the back. See, most people, unless you live on a farm, that doesn't happen. And most people don't even know how to farm anymore because 95% of all the people live in a city. So now we have this issue and this problem, and this is why our society has got more violent, because we've changed our communication, we've changed our ability to exchange ideas in a compassionate, empathetic, understanding. We've changed our way to exchange ideas that we can find some good things in your idea, though I don't agree with most of it. We've lost that ability. It's easier for us to yell and scream and run away. We don't like to have confrontation, even if it's good confrontation. We have lost our way in this country. And along comes President Trump. Now, President Trump, who's not beholden to anybody, like him or not, he's not beholden to anybody. Not the globalists, not the Vatican, not the monarchy, not the insurance companies, not the banks, not the corporations. He just wants to make America great. And he's not a flawless man. He is a man full of flaws. He's full of flaws. And he always has been. And to his dying day, he always will be. But what's at stake here is that we are at war, ladies and gentlemen. The American idea of living is being attacked, and attacked on all fronts. Not only attacked from outside, but attacked from within. The Democratic Party, the rhinos of the Republican Party, the people who only think with their hearts and not with logic and common sense. We are being attacked by terrorists and extremists. And we've been being attacked for some 50 years, as far as I'm concerned. But we're seeing it now because of the technology every single day, which is proliferating more attacks. It's begatting itself over and over and over. All right, so we're being attacked from in Europe. Look what's happening on our southern border. We're being attacked. There was just a murder of that Iowa young lady. She was stabbed multiple times by that illegal. We're seeing more and more and more of that every single day. We're seeing people, Americans, kill each other, whether it's black on black, white on white, brown on brown. Brown on black, black to white, white to brown, brown to Asian, Asian to black, it doesn't matter. More Americans are killing each other because they got road rage on the side of the freeway. So they pull off, exchange words. Someone pulls out a gun, shoots him. He gets pushed back into the lane and gets run over by a Kenworth truck. Our society is getting more violent. It's because we've lost our way. And along comes President Trump who says, look it, we need borders. Look it. We need a strong military. Look it, we need to cut taxes and put more money in people's pockets. Look it, we need more jobs, good paying jobs. Look it, we need these things to right the wrong ship. And he's being attacked by the Democratic Party to being put down in every way they can. They don't care about America. They don't care about Americans. They don't care about you. All they care about, Mueller and his team, all they care about is doing bad things to President Trump and get him out of there. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. Nothing. Because if they did for the last 50 years, something would be done about it. And you can't excuse Bush. He was just, that family was the most satanic, evil, oligarchian family the world has ever seen in American politics. So you see, that's what's happening here. We are at war, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not advocating we go on the streets with our AR-15s, but what I am advocating is understanding. We are being attacked from outside and we are being attacked from inside. And Donald Trump doesn't even get it. And here's why. Come on, man. Get a legal team that's smart. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. You're falling into the trap of Mueller and Cohen and Manafort. You're falling into the trap. Hook, line. It's like they read The Art of War and you never read it by Sun Tzu. Go read that book, Donald Trump. Get some attorneys that know how to fight because you're falling into their trap. And you're getting so deeper and deeper and deeper, Donald Trump, President Trump, that if you don't do something, they're gonna take you down. And that's what they want. Because they want America back the way it was. They want open borders. They want tariffs. They want a weak military. They want to control your banking and your insurance. They want you to eat poison food. They want to be energy, not energy leaders, but energy suckers to OPEC. This is what they want because that's what we've had. They want fighting in the streets. They want social anarchy and chaos. And President Trump, if you don't get a legal team behind you, you're going to give it to him. That's where I stand right now with who I think could be the greatest president this country's ever seen. If he just keeps his mouth shut and gets a legal team that understands the game. Just go read The Art of War and copy it. Guarantee they've read it. Because they're using it. I reviewed The Art of War over the last month. I've read it like a gajillion times. It's like they went to that book and they pulled out the tactics to bring President Trump down. It's unbelievable. So you see what I'm saying is that President Trump, you're making a grave mistake. Keep your mouth shut. Okay? Just keep your mouth shut. Why don't you get the wall built? Increase our military. Put the clamps down on Iran. Okay? Russia, the people in Russia are dying, ladies and gentlemen. They are not repopulating their nation. They're getting old and dying. That country is dying. They only have 150 million people on the largest continent, the largest country the world has ever seen. Okay? They're dying. Putin knows this. China won't do anything. They like American dollars. They've already succumbed and said, okay, we'll lift the tariff of 25% on your oil, America. We need oil. Okay? So don't worry about Russia. But I'll tell you this much. If we allow this to go back to the way it was, and we don't right this ship and keep this ship righted, we're in some serious trouble in the next 50 years. 20 years, 10 years. Did you really want Hillary Clinton with all the crimes she's done? Did you really want that? Did you really want Mueller and these criminals? They're breaking the law right now. They're breaking the law to try to catch somebody who they think broke the law. And they haven't been able to find anything. But Donald Trump, President Trump, you're walking right into their web. Now, will his ego, will his brashness, will his New York attitude be able to save him from this? Not if he keeps hiring cats like Giuliani, who I love Giuliani. I love what he did in New York. He cleaned New York up. He did it. Him and Chief Braddock. Okay? They cleaned New York up. But Giuliani was only 40 then. I mean, the guy, I think he drinks too much hooch. Okay? He's got to get a team. A team. Yeah, I know why he picked him. He picked Giuliani because the cats that are going after him are all from that district, that district of courts up there in New York. And they all know Giuliani. In fact, they all work for Giuliani. And Trump figured Giuliani control it. He can't. You better hire a better people. But to go back to what? Right here, Monday through Friday. We'll be back with you next week. We've got a whole litany of guests coming in. My goodness, I'll be posting up on Facebook.com/Jesse Torero. The show's podcasting now. Thanking Kevin Sorbo for checking in. We got to get him into the studio. We have to. I got to get my buddy Kevin. We got to get him down here, man, and have some serious talk. Also, thanking everybody who shares us and likes us. I appreciate you guys always checking in with us on the Jesse T Show. We're on YouTube channel Jesse Torero right now, and thepowerofvoices.com on the radio side as our foundation. You can check out the audio track, as well as check out the Facebook page of the Power of Voices. Power Voices on Facebook as well. So check us out right here. The Jesse T Show, the world according to Torero. Next week, the real story's back with the double D's. We can't wait to get him back because that's a show full of fireworks, let me tell you. Hey, look it. You're straight on the point. The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya!